welcome to How to Paint Watercolors. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello everyone, welcome back to Painting Watercolors. I hope you enjoy this one. I'm going to try and make this one relatively simple. Take a little bit of water off this, just in the centre there, which creates a nice little bright spot. I'm going to give you a run round of the colours, which are Naples Yellow, Raw Sienna, Burnt Umber, Cobalt Blue, French Ultramarine. These are all Sennelier watercolours. I've stretched the paper, which is just wetting it both sides, and into this I'm just going to put some Naples Yellow, and I'm just going to create that bright ringed spot there. Naples Yellow in here as well. I'm going to take some of the Raw Sienna and I'm just going to drop this in. And we could drop some in here. Just get rid of some of this white paper. Cobalt Blue with some Burnt Sienna. I'm going to create a blue grey. I think that will do it. Let me just check it. Now a bit more blue. Just get this on, bring it down towards the other colour. I'll put a bit of grey in here as well. Just a little bit of land in there. And then we're just dropping some one or two spots just to give the sky a bit of movement. Right, and I'm going to leave that. Once it's turned to a velvet, when all the water off the paper has sunk into the paper, we'll put the background trees in, wet into wet. Okay, I've been away and had a cup of coffee. Hope you can see that the water is dissipating off the paper, evaporating, sinking in, and you're left with that little tiny sheen, and you're looking for that really. So I'm going to take some more of the Burnt Sienna, Cobalt Blue. I'm going to make this a little bit thicker and a little bit greyer. Now you can do this with a tree and texture brush, but I'm going to do it with a round brush because a lot of people have got them and you can use them for this. I'm going to put some background bushes in over here. The board is set at an angle so that it will run down this way and then it won't spread too far into the sky. Just bring some into the background bank. You could even put a higher setting. Just a little bit of structure. Then I want something a little stronger. As we come forward, so I'm going to use the French Ultramarine with some Raw Sienna. You end up with like a little bit of a green colour. Let's drop this in. Just to create some bushes here, slightly stronger and a slightly different tone. See, I'm just using that tip really and just bringing it out. So you have to be careful. Timing is everything. When I do like things that can be slightly unpredictable, I'm just going to leave some gaps, and if it fills in, it fills in. If it doesn't, it can spread down. It's just like light coming through the trees. think this side is just a little wetter, but it doesn't matter. Just bring this into the bank. And then these front ones, I think we will just add a little bit stronger tone in. Just making all this really misty. And then I'm going to let that dry off. Now that we've got that dry, I've just re-wet this little patch here. I'm going to leave this here because I want it to be quite misty. And I'm going to drop some of this murky raw sienna in before I swap it out for something cleaner. Just to bring this shoreline slightly forward whilst pushing that one further back. I'm going to take it up the bank and peel it off. Taking out any hard edge. Then into that I just want to drop some burnt sienna just to create a little shoreline. Then I'm going to mix up some more of this. I'm going to use that because I'm going to drop some burnt umber in it. And I just want to bring out some trunks and branches in here, but they're an incidental, as I like to call them. They're interest, but they're not a major player. Hope you can see that. As these are slightly forward, I'm just going to give these bushes a little bit of structure. Just creates interest. I'm going to re-wet the tree. I do want to create a little light on this side of the tree, so I'm going to drop some raw sienna down here. Just to create a little lighter patch, that's all. And we'll take some burnt sienna as well, I think. This is an old oak tree. I'm going to drop some burnt sienna in as well. Take some of the bush colour. We can drop this in on the left hand side and just let all this run over, mingle into each other. And all these tones will match the rest of the painting. Helps unify it. Then I'm going to take some of the blue burnt umber to create a dark. And I'm going to drop that in on this side. Gently pulling some across. Just a little bit of sepia mixed in with that because I want this tree to stand out. I want the branches to stand out in the light of the sky. And before I attach it to the ground, I'm just going to leave that like that for a while. Give your brush a little wiggle on some of these branches just to give it that rough edged look. A bit of shadow on that one there. To the light. See how this tree is now beginning to stand out? Before I go too far with it, and I'm just going to take a damp brush and just pull some of this down with the damp brush, and you see how that will attach it to the ground. Then I'm just going to leave that to dry. Now that your tree's nice and dry, I just put the branches in while the camera was off with a rigger brush or a very fine detail brush, and I'm just re-wetting the river area. So I'm going to use the sky colours, Naples yellow. I'm going to drop some raw sienna. I've cleaned this up a little bit, put a fresh lot in, all horizontal strokes. Take some cobalt blue and some burnt sienna, a little bit bluer. And a little bit more burnt sienna to it. Just to make a grey, sort of the background colour of that. Once again, I'm just going to drop this in. Just drop it in. These are the reflections from the bushes at the back. I'm just helping it down. I'm going to drop some very watery reflections in here. And along the edge, I can drop some burnt sienna along the shoreline. Raw sienna. Now your river's dry, I'm just going to take some of the burnt sienna and I'm just going to flick in just one or two grasses. Take a damp brush and just fade the bottoms in. Just creating little tufts of grass on this light bank. I'm going to take some more of the grey. I'm going to bring some of this up here, branches and bits of twigs and all sorts here. Just creating some background stuff, nothing too elaborate. Just taking the brush again and just pull this down. Take some of the raw sienna, and when it's still wet I'm just going to pull some of this through as well. Blades of grass. I'll just take my mop brush and dry it off, open it out, pick up some of the burnt sienna as it's an autumn scene, and then we can begin just touch it on. Don't press. You just want the tips to touch, nothing else. Straightforward burnt umber. Once again, I'm just going to add this in. Just on the underside, just for the darker shade of the leaves. That's all I want to do to that. I'll add a little bit of the burnt umber down here. Put some grasses in once again. A little bit of that dark in here. Just creating movement a little bit, that's all. Tips of the brush. We'll add some birds in the sky here. When your river is dry, I just want to put a couple of wind streaks in the water so we'll get these straight, and they always work well in the reflections. This is where you get to sign it, put them out around it and frame it. Please click the like button and subscribe. Subscribers are always welcome. Please feel free to leave a comment. It's always nice to hear from viewers, and I do reply. So I'd just like to thank you all very much for watching. Until next time, thank you.